What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. So in this episode I want to talk to you guys about a lot of the comments that you left in my two videos that were meant for shorter riders. I made my first video about 8 or 9 months ago with my Street Triple RS, which is right there, and then I made a second video with my Yamaha R6 to give you guys an example of what it would feel like to ride an R6, which is a very high sport bike, versus a naked bike, which is about 32 inches in height. And those two videos did very well. You guys still had a ton of questions, and in this video I want to answer those questions for you, and hopefully by the end of it you feel a whole lot better about riding a taller bike. Just to reiterate, if you haven't watched my previous videos, I'm not that tall. I'm only 5'5" with a 29 to 30 inch inseam. So with that said, let's get going. The first time I got on a motorcycle, I dropped it. And that was in my parking lot. It was a KTM RC390. That was my first ever motorcycle. I didn't have my license at the time, and I didn't have myself to teach myself. So the things that we're going to be talking about in this video, I wish I knew before I started learning how to ride a motorcycle. My KTM RC390 fell a couple of times, and it wasn't just in my parking lot, but I dropped it on the street, I dropped it on the parking lots, I dropped it in a lot of places. So if you want to learn from someone who's made a lot of mistakes. And that's me right here. I've made a lot of mistakes and I've learned from them. So I'm going to tell you tips and tricks on how to not drop your bike. And that has a lot to do with, well, you can learn it one of two ways. The first way is by learning it from a mentor, such as myself. The second way is to learn it by making a ton of mistakes. Both ways will teach you very, very well what not to do and what to do. I learned, unfortunately, the hard way. Good thing for me, I didn't get hurt doing it. Well, actually, the first time I dropped my motorcycle, I was stupid. Wasn't wearing gear. It was in my parking lot. I shouldn't have done it without gear on. That being said, a lot of you guys are probably going to be in the same situation as I was. So if I made the mistake, you will too. If you're learning how to ride a motorcycle for the first time, make sure that you wear all your gear all the time. It's very cliche by now, ADGAD, you've heard it a million times, not only from me but from other people as well. Wear your gear, and trust me, it helps you out. So that being said, I dropped my bike so many times in parking lots as well as on the street, at stop signs, and the reason why I dropped it is because I would always use my brakes whenever the handlebar was turned or slightly turned, because what happens is that all of the weight transfers depending on which direction that the handlebar is turned, and then it just makes the bike drop. No matter how strong you are or how big you are, you just can't stop the motorcycle dropping at that point. And it happened to me so many times until I learned the hard way. For short people like myself and like you, there's only one thing that really matters, and most of the time it's not even about being short, because there are people who are watching my video that are 6 foot tall, but they only have a 29 inch or 30 inch inseam. But here's what I'm going to tell you guys. Now listen up real close. If you have anywhere between a 28 to 30 inch inseam, you can ride any motorcycle you want. Now the reason why I say that is because my inseam is anywhere between a 29 and a 30. So if I can ride any bike that's between 30 inches to 33 inches, above 33 inches in height, then you can too. It's all about adapting. It's not necessarily how tall you are. Don't make fun of yourself in case you're short. A lot of people are just feeling down because they're short. They feel sorry for themselves. And you don't need to. There is no deficiency. You are who you are. Accept yourself for who you are and learn to adapt. My whole life, I've learned to adapt to things. My whole life. I was picked on at school. I wasn't the most popular kid. And I bet you a lot of it had to do with because I'm a short kid. But who cares? I don't need to be that guy. I don't need to be Mr. Popular. Don't be jealous of other people flat-footing their motorcycle. Don't wish that you can be so-and-so height, because when you do these things, you degrade yourself. When you do these things, and when you feel sorry for yourself, you disallow the chance for yourself to become better things in life, because how you do anything is how you do everything. If you feel sorry for yourself because you're short, and I'm talking to the guys here, and you can't flat foot your bike, or you feel uncomfortable riding this bike or that bike, then you're gonna feel sorry for yourself because you're not that tall, and so-and-so girl and this girl or that girl is not gonna like you as well. Because how you feel about yourself in one way is how you feel about yourself in many other ways as well. The first part of adapting to anything is accepting whatever you have. If you can accept the fact that you only have a 29-inch or a 28-inch or a 27-inch inseam, whatever it may be, then that gives you the power to make changes and for you to adapt. This is how I was able to overcome a lot of my limitations. Throughout the years that I've been riding, let's just say it's been a little bit over 2 years now that I've been riding a motorcycle, I've had to overcome a lot of these different issues about motorcycles that weigh a whole lot. The heaviest motorcycle I've ever ridden was the BMW R18. I think that's over 750, 780 pounds. Not to mention 2500cc. Yes, my boys. And then the other crazy motorcycle that I drove was the Triumph Rocket 3. And I believe that's over 750, 780 pounds as well. And that's a big honking monster. It looks like something Captain America would ride. 2500cc, I think, was the Rocket 3, and the R18 was 1800cc or something like that. I forgot. Whatever. It was ridiculous. There was one point where I backed out of so many different opportunities to ride some really cool motorcycles, but there was this one time that I did a review for a $45,000 or $50,000 motorcycle. It was Ducati of Newport Beach's owner's motorcycle. It was his personal V4R. That motorcycle cost $40,000, and I think he dumped an additional $10,000 in mods, so I was literally riding a motorcycle that was over $50,000. I'm kidding you not. As soon as I got on top of that motorcycle, I second-guessed myself, and I was like, man, I can't do this, because imagine I dropped this motorcycle. Not only is it freaking embarrassing, but no dealer would ever give me another motorcycle to ride, because word's going to spread real quick that this guy is an idiot and he shouldn't be trusted with anyone's bike. But you know what? I forced myself. I learned to adapt. I practiced as much as I could before I went to the dealership, and I adapted. And I think I was only a couple of months into riding a motorcycle, and I rode a motorcycle that was 230 horsepower with a seat height that was way more than the bikes I was used to at the time. And that was just one example. There's many other examples just like this, but it all comes from acceptance. It all comes from accepting the fact that you have these limitations and then doing something about it. Practicing as much as you can, not feeling sorry for yourself, not saying that you're this and that and you're never going to be able to do it. These are just limitations that you set for yourself. I can give you so many different stories upon stories. To date, I've ridden about 70 different motorcycles, and as I mentioned before, I've done about 35,000 miles. And it's all because I pushed myself, and I think you can too. So now you might tell me, what about lowering the motorcycle? Because if I lower the motorcycle, it would make it easier for me to ride. Yes, it will make it easier for you to ride, but it's going to cost you a lot of money to lower it. That's number one. But most importantly, the bike is not going to feel the same as the manufacturer intended it. And then number three, and I think this is probably the most important thing, is that you will never ever gain confidence riding another bike ever again. You will remain stagnant. You will never gain any real skill on riding a motorcycle. If you ever have the opportunity to ride another bike, you're going to decline it because you gave up the opportunity of adapting and learning in the beginning. So I say it's a pretty bad freaking idea. Don't make your motorcycle suspension shorter than it is. Keep it factory stock, and watch my 2 other videos and learn from them, because in the 2 videos that I created, I displayed how I ride way taller bikes, and the motorcycle that I used for display was my Yamaha R6 as well as my current Street Triple RS.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So, I wanted to pull over here to show you guys how to park your motorcycle or how to maneuver your motorcycle in a parking lot situation. But unfortunately, I only have 10% battery left. But if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to create a dedicated episode on the things that we didn't cover in this video, such as leaving your motorcycle either in gear or putting it in neutral when you're at a stoplight. Other than that, we're going to talk a lot about how to maneuver and park your motorcycle and ride it through hills, and hills going up and hills going down. But until the next episode, guys, I will see you later. Leave a comment down below. Ask any questions that you have, any concerns that you have, and other things that you want me to talk about in the following videos about this topic, because I will go over them in my next video. So anyways, guys, I will see you later. Take care. Ciao for now.